Great. Ready.
So very warm good evening to all of our viewers and welcome to today's weekly career class. I am your host Samad Solomon. We meet here every week to discuss career related topics to help you uncover your fullest potential. So a very warm welcome to all of you. And today's topic is, as you would know, how to ace internship interviews. So the interview is one major criteria that companies use, right, to shortlist candidates for internships and jobs as well. So preparation would be the key to a such interviews, right? And so this would be the topic today. And to discuss this topic, we have with us Mr. George John. He's a senior career counselor and mentor. He has a total of 30 years of corporate experience. He has worked in various companies such as Godrej, Airtel, Tata Tele, and Nortel. He has also served as the vice president for client operations at Accenture. So, very good evening to you, sir, and welcome. We are very glad to have you here. And I would now be handing over the session to sir. At the end, we will be having a Q&A session as well. So please feel free to put your queries in the chat box. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Samad. And Samad, I want to tell you how excited I am to be here. And you know what the reason is? Because I myself have hired a couple of interns after they have finished their class 12 and as they bridge into their undergraduation. And all of them are doing exceptionally well. I can't tell you how smart, how flexible, and how creative they are in doing it. So I'm so excited to be able to get into this session about acing interviews specifically for internship because there's a huge opportunity out there. Yeah, so that's what so thank you for that opportunity, Samar. And as an IDC team, it's a privilege for us to be able to address so many of you who are already on board watching this, and also those who will be watching this later. There's a great opportunity out there in the market with the changing scenarios in industry and new jobs coming in as you rotate to your new, as you rise to your new. There's so much opportunity out there, and as much as you're looking for any and every opportunity for getting internships in organizations, keep in mind organizations are also looking for every good intern to be able to join them and make a difference. So we will try to start with a small context of internships, why, where, and what, and then we'll actually spend more time in how to ace interviews both through phone as well as video. We'll try and answer some questions. And at the end, and if still there are unanswered questions, feel free to get back to the IDC team through email and through various channels that Samar sir will be telling us, and we'll be very happy to continue to support you. As I said, this is a privilege for us to be able to mentor and guide the leaders of tomorrow, and that is all of you. So thank you, and a big clap for all of you to join. And I'm sure this session will be very useful. So I just want to pick up some questions so that we can try and understand where you're coming from, right? So you see the first question here. And those of you, if you are not able to read, let me read out the question for you, and someone can tell me what are the answers on the chat window or on the YouTube chat. The question is, have you appeared for interviews for internships already? Let's hear where you are in your whole search of preparation to get internships. The options could be no plans as of now. Options could be not appeared, but hoping to in the future. Options could be like one of them said, sir, I've gone for so many interviews and I've been getting rejected. And now I've come to you to help me prepare. One student told me just yesterday, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon in my office. Yes, Samar.
So I think we're not able to see your screen. It's stuck on the last slide. Cool.
Okay, so I'll just probably stop sharing and share again.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I'll share my desktop, so that might be easy. As you already know, technology always plays sport with us, and it's important for us to always master that. Okay, so here we go, and I think you should be able to see the poll questions on your screen. The question that I was asking you is, have you appeared for interviews for internships already? Is this visible, Samar?
Yes, yes. So we
Okay.
have a few responses, right? Hoping to appear in the future, someone said.
Hmm. Okay, so dear audience, I will address you as audience because it might be a mix of students and working professionals. What I want to encourage you is go ahead and try internships because there's a great way to be able to learn, and we'll build on that. If you're hoping, go ahead, don't wait. Even if it is 2 hours in a day, 3 hours in a day, get moving and get attached and get experience because experience that you get for yourself and the experience that you learn from talking to other people would really boost up your understanding and your wisdom. My second question, therefore, is what is the most difficult part of obtaining internships? And try and listen to this. Is it preparing for your CV? Is it searching for options? Or is it success in interviews? Or if you have something else, feel free to share that. We want to learn from you. Please teach us. What's the most important part of obtaining internships? I'm sure all of you want to get into and get engaged with something. So what is the most difficult part that you see? Let's hear.
Any responses, guys?
Guys, it's a Saturday evening and there are internships waiting for you still. Okay.
Searching for
So
options. So there is
searching for
someone.
options. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, searching for options is a very critical part because if you can do that, then half the job is won. You know where to where you have already applied and you got some options. Okay, let's look at one more question before we move in. What is the one thing that companies, now we're looking at companies, okay? What is the one thing that companies mostly need interns for? What are they looking for when they are looking for interns? Is it short-term assignments? Is it some kind of an overload or a rush of work? Or is it testing for employment in the future? Or is it probably a great thing, opportunities to learn? Yeah, I would like to keep learning. So, what would be the reason that you think companies look in interns? Let's hear your answers.
Yeah. So guys, I'm waiting for your answers.
Let's make it interactive, dear audience, because it's important for us to know what can we do. There's so much of information that IDC has. It's important for all of us to be able to know what exactly can make a difference for each one of you individually, right? We value your life, your future, your career, and your dreams, and therefore it is very important for us to know how can we make a difference for you. We're very eager to hear from you now
Okay.
and on an ongoing basis. Yes, what are your answers?
So Anirban says short-term assignments.
Hmm. Yes, Anirban. Suddenly there's a short-term assignment or a project, and the manager will say, okay, let's quickly get some interns on board. Hmm. My answer would be it is all of them. Okay. It all depends upon the situation and the need in the organization. As Anirban said, it might be short-term assignments, or there might be huge onrush of work, maybe a client business that has suddenly come. I've had situations where the client comes and says, okay, we need to have you take over this work because another organization working for us is not delivering. We want to take this over. How many people are required? 300 people. How much time do we have to get quickly onboarded and up to speed? You have 30 days, which means in 30 days, an organization has to produce 300 people all together. They have to get seats, they have to get people, hire them, get them on board. I'm not saying everything would be on an internship basis, but interns provide a very critical role to be able to augment the sudden rush of work that comes. And of course, sometimes instead of hiring from the market, they also look at this internship as an opportunity for work for professionals, maybe after class 12, maybe after undergraduation, during undergraduation, to come work with them, understand the culture, and see if it merges with theirs. And whenever they have to hire full time, they actually look at the pool of interns first. Okay. So why do firms take interns? We just talked about many of these things. right? And employability quotient increases for you as less training is required because interns are already in the organization, they've been working, and what they say is they can hit the ground running. जैसे ही अपॉर्चुनिटी आ जाता है, राइट, सो सबसे पहले मैनेजर देखते हैं कि चलो फटाफट इंटर्न्स के पूल में से देख लेते हैं, वहां ही कोई हो तो उन्हीं को उठा लेते हैं, बिकॉज उनको तो सब कुछ पता है, दे नो एवरीथिंग, एंड सो इट्स इजी फॉर देम टू क्विकली गेट ऑन बोर्डेड, and the office is the same, the culture is the same, right? So that's a great opportunity. Okay, let's look at one more question and try to get your answers. The question is, what is the most important reason for students to take internships? All of you, why do you want to take internships? Is it part of your academics? Is it to gain experience? Number two, is it to discover your own potential in terms of what you can do, what you cannot do, or you like doing or you don't like doing? Or is it to look for some employment opportunities after internships? What's the most reason for all of you as you look and hope for internships? Let's see your answers. We want to hear from you. We want to learn and listen so we can actually see what you
Okay.
need.
So to gain experience, someone says.
Gaining experience, very, very important. Because that's where the rubber meets the road, right? जूते के बारे में सुन तो लिया, पर डालोगे तब पता चलेगा कि कहाँ दर्द होता है और कहाँ मजा आता है. Yes.
Profile building, experience.
Profile building, experience. Yes.
Part of academics as well.
Yes, sometimes it is part of academics. And for those of you who are aspiring into getting into university, keep in mind, more and more universities are looking for people, not only from an academics point of view, but they look at the profile and see, has this person done anything on internship? Has this person done anything for community work? What are the extracurricular activities? What was special about this person? Okay, so let's very quickly look at 10 reasons why an internship is important for students. Okay, and I'll quickly go forward and just pick up and ask you, what do you think would be important for you? Right, what you see is application of education, gaining experience, exposure to industry, networking is a great reason, and they also try to see how they can pick up work-life balance. Okay, and there are 5 more coming, and I would like you to answer why. What do you think would be the important reason? Some of you have also answered. They also try to look at professionalism versus office politics and how to manage it. There are some people who say, oh, I want to go to Bangalore, oh, I want to go to Mumbai, or I want to go to Delhi. I want to get into the bigger city and I want to get an opportunity, right? Or maybe there are people who want to go abroad and say, I want to pick up an internship in Dubai. My aunt is there and I want to go there for a couple of months while I'm having holidays. And I want to pick up some kind of a job, a part-time job. So I get to travel and I get to work and earn some money, right? It could also be to learn in a safe environment. It could also be, as you see in number 9, you can actually use this opportunity to figure out what are the things that you enjoy and what are the things where you say, aha, are bilkul maza nahi aata, ye to gulami hai, this is like slave. I just don't like getting into this numericals and this mathematics and the figures on the balance sheet. Samajh nahi aata mujhe. I get stressed, I get a headache. Maybe you could think like that, right? Or as you work, you might be able to get some feedback from senior people with whom you would be interning. And you could say, sir, what do you think I am doing well? And what are the areas where I can improve? Those kind of feedback. Okay, so if you have any specific questions or observations, try to put it on the chat window while I keep moving forward. So these are the 10 reasons which we have seen people going for internships. Okay, now when we look at companies, now this was from a student's perspective. Now look at companies' perspective. When companies look for internships, how do they select? What criteria do they use? What for do they select intern? What exactly is the criteria for selection? That's the right word. Okay, is it they look at the qualification and projects, or is it do they take the past internships, or is it just the motivation level, the energy level? or is it with matching with the organization, or some other reason? What do you think would be the reason why what companies are looking for in interns? Let's hear your answer. Okay, let's hear the answers coming quickly, so
All,
I'll move very quickly. Okay,
all of the reasons above.
all the reasons. Okay, yeah, all the reasons
Very
and
nice
many.
reason. Very
All
nice.
the, yeah, that's right, Samar. All the reasons. Okay. Now, the most difficult and frustrating part of the internship. I was talking to somebody by the name of Rashmi, and she said, "Sir, the most difficult uh, thing about internship is, sir, मुझे opportunity नहीं मिल रहा. I'm applying, but no reply. So what do I do? मुझे तो पता ही नहीं लगता कि मैं कहाँ ढूंढूं. How could I? Where should I go? So what's most difficult or frustrating part? Is it the limitation in opportunities, or is it no selection mechanism? And I'm reading this out for those who are probably just listening in. Or is it that internship में कोई learning नहीं है, no learning? Or sir, internship के बाद employment तो मिलता नहीं है. No, it doesn't lead to employment, or something else. Most frustrating part of internships. What do you think? We want to hear, we want to see what you have to say. Internships is definitely not easy, especially when you're searching for one. So what
So
is most
someone
painful?
says, yeah, so someone says no reply and does not lead to employment.
Yes, yes, surely. Yeah, so there was this person who I asked last week. This person got a job in one of the best one of the best world, the highest in the world, the brand. He got into the he got into the organization, into HR. And I asked him, what were some of the things that you did to be able to get you the job? Okay, he joined last Monday, and he's been looking for a job for almost 6 months. Okay, so I won't give you the name or the organization because then it becomes obvious, right? So one of the things he said was, he said, I used LinkedIn, and I'll do a little more about that. The second, he said, even in the posting, I tried to do something very different. You know, when you get salaries, and the on the 25th of the month या महीने के 28 तारीख को एक छोटा सा SMS आता है. There's a small SMS which says that so and so 60,178 rupees has been credited to your account by your salary from so and so company. Yeah, or 20,000 has been credited. वो जो message है वो आपके SMS में as an SMS it comes to your phone, right? And what he said is he put it on LinkedIn, and he said that how many of you have not got this message for the last 6 months? And if you have not got it, here are some tips that I'd like to give you as I search for jobs myself. And you know what, Samad? He actually got more than 1 million hits in 1 week.
Wow.
So it was amazing. See how creative he was, right? So instead of just saying, I've not got a job, he just picked that small message and he put it up and said, how many of you have not got this message for the last 6 months? And then he said, I'm also in the same stream, but this is what I am doing. And he was able to encourage a lot of people to search for jobs. And as I said, after 6 months, he's got one of the dream jobs that he was aspiring for. Okay, so it is not easy, but there is always a way to differentiate yourself. So that brings us to this point, places to look for internships. And as I said, this person looked at LinkedIn to look for opportunities. Now, what are what are the places here? These are some of the many links that you can use. Internshala is also very good. I myself have got a lot of profiles from Internshala when I wanted to get interns to work in my organization. So I again run into a career organization, career counseling, and many other areas. And I got interns, and I'm really blessed by those interns. They are so motivated, they are so sharp, they are always willing to learn, and a little bit of support, and they give their life. I am so amazed, and I really tell you, there are organizations out there who are wanting to get good interns, who are really wanting to learn, who do the hard work, who go the extra mile, and also very creative, self-learning in terms of what they do. Okay, so I just want to encourage you. We want to clap for you and say, guys, don't give up. There is an opportunity waiting for you there. So out of all these things, I want to just put a little more tips on LinkedIn, because that seems to be one of the sites which professionals look into more often. Okay, using LinkedIn to find. Now, the first thing you must definitely do, if not only done, is to create and maintain your profile. Okay, create it and talk all about yourself. Now, LinkedIn is a great opportunity search for recruiters because organizations nowadays not only publish the vacancies in various forums, but they also actively use LinkedIn. You can also look at your dream organizations and connect with the HR. Okay, connection is not a problem. If you want to try InMail, which is a premium service, you can even try that premium service. Usually, it is free for the first 30 days, and you can try it out and use InMail to be able to communicate, to reach out to HR professionals. And those HR professionals with whom you try to connect and reach out, see the messages, they also will have an opportunity to look at your own profile. It really works because I said last Monday, one person I knew was really desperate to get a job, got it, right? So companies tap into LinkedIn for multiple reasons, and some of this is to look for good profiles. Okay, so you can also build your network within LinkedIn. There are various communities of practice, what we call it, what we say interest groups, right? It could be something on save the earth, it could be save animals, it could be something on teaching English. There could be multiple groups that are there in LinkedIn, and you can actually get involved in a small community, virtual community within LinkedIn, which also not only has interest groups but location groups also, and they meet physically. So वहां भी आप जा सकते हो, you can meet them physically and you can start contributing as you meet people. Now, recommendations are a great point, what you see in number 5. So you can actually reach out to your professors, your teachers, your mentors, anyone who's in a good position with whom you have worked or studied together, they have seen you, ask them to give you a good recommendation, right? Now, you would ask me, sir, does recommendation really work? क्या इससे ये सब is it like a bubble? बहुत कुछ बोलते हैं पर विश्वास नहीं होता है. My answer to that would be recommendations are important, but recruiters don't look at only recommendations. They look at many other things, but recommendations definitely are important. I used to work for Accenture for more than 9 years, and I used to very frequently go for interviews. And you know, the ratio of interview to final conversion, that is selection, was 50:1, sometimes more, which means look at the organization's challenge. 50 people have to be interviewed to be able to get one good person. बड़ी कठिनाई होती थी. इंटरव्यू लेते जा रहे हैं, लेते जा रहे हैं, लेते जा रहे हैं. And whatever question you ask, sometimes I had to say, beta, tell me what I should ask so that you can give me a good answer. I really want to select you, but tell me something. Okay, so it's very important to be able to have recommendations and build your credentials on LinkedIn, all your certificates, any good thing. You run a marathon, you've taken part in some other extracurricular activities, put all those certificates uploaded. Number 6 is contribute creatively. As you try to upload your own self, try to connect with some articles. There are so many articles out there. Try to comment upon them, pick up some thoughts from your own experience and contribute to it. Ask some questions, write something that is different from others, and you will start getting hits and you will start getting attention. The 7th, this is the last but not the least, and there are many other reasons as benefits of LinkedIn. There are lots of online courses, and you can pick up those online courses like you have the other portals also and try to learn. Okay, so use the online courses on LinkedIn also. It's a great opportunity to be able to search for internships, and as you search for internships, you can also upskill yourself. Now, in this digital age that we see, reskilling is very, very, very important because as the technology is moving so fast, there are winners and there are losers. Why do I say that? That's because with the new coming in, especially with COVID and the post-COVID era, lots of things have changed. So the organizations and individuals, those who are happy to take that change, accept the change, and be willing to leverage that change and rise to new opportunities by reskilling and reworking, redefining their own strategy will definitely succeed. So what does that mean? What it means is when this digital age is coming in with so many opportunities, you see something called as multi-industry, multi-skill, multi-tech. Now, what does that mean? It means that there are so many new opportunities that are coming. Just look at, uh, say, the mobile phone. The mobile phone you have, and there are application developers, mobile app developers, right? From there was a year, what I think, what 2007, there were hardly any. The tele density was so low. But currently, there are more than 5 million mobile app developers in the world. See how many new jobs have been created. New jobs like drone operators, social media managers, autonomous vehicle engineers. There are so many new job opportunities that are coming in the market. And it's very important for you to pick up short-term learning programs so that you are ready for those kind of opportunities, right? Talk about existing jobs. It's the threat is not only for those who are searching for jobs, those who are already in the jobs will also see a threat. Look at the manufacturing industry. It is said that by the year 2025, which is another 3 years from now, 2.5 years, by 2025, more than 5 million jobs will be removed. Okay, in the area of manufacturing and in the area of customer service. I used to work in my organization, and we had about 1,000 people in the team, and we did a small study. And the client asked. The client was one of the largest organizations in the technology space and in the digital space, and they asked us to do a small analysis. What can we do to do automation? And we called tech masters, the developers, and they did a study of our process. And you know what? After 2 months of study, the conclusion was that by bringing in automation, we can bring down that full strength by half. That means almost 500 people will become redundant. Now, what do you do? Is it good news or bad news? I think there are two ways of doing it. Oh, it's bad news because 500 people will lose their jobs. What do we do? Oh my, this is not good. Now, the other perspective is, wow, this is great. We can predict the future and we can see this is how it is going. Change is inevitable. So how can we create new jobs for those 500 people? Give them a lot of training, upskill them on new skills, different skills, and make them ready for new opportunities, and increase the revenue for the organization, incentivize those who are learning new skills, but still be able to keep the business, isn't it? So that is what we talk about, multi-skilling in a multi-tech atmosphere, environment. And therefore, it is important to look at retraining and reskilling. And one of the great opportunities to do this is to be able to pick up internships. That's where I'm coming from. Look at internships to be able to learn new skills, which means each one of you should be very flexible. Because I've been counseling certain students, and I said, Beta, why don't you look at this kind of a development job? Or why don't you look at this kind of a job where you have to do a little bit of marketing, right? And then they say, Sir, maine to kabhi kiya nahi hai. Sir, how will I do it? Sir, it is very boring. Sir, I don't even know how to do it. Beta, but there's an opportunity for you, right? If they are ready to teach you on the job, join them and say, Sir, absolutely. In my previous time, I did not know how to make a project, but I learned PowerPoint presentation. I learned Excel. I did this in 1 week. I learned, sir. And so please give me an opportunity. I will definitely be able to pick up. आप मुझे एक हफ्ता दे दो, sir. Within 1 week, I will show you that I can do it. Sir, try me, right? Be eager and show motivation to learn. Many organizations will teach you if you really are motivated to learn. Okay, we may not know everything all the time, but it's an opportunity to quickly learn. Okay, so with that kind of a context, how do you ace various types of interviews that you see here on the screen? Okay, it could be telephonic, it could be online, it could be a series of interviews. So it's always important to know what kind of interviews lie ahead of that internship selection, know them, and then plan for them effectively, right? So the 3 P's required for interviews would be preparation, get the right perspective in terms of what the organization is looking for, what the interviews will be looking for, and try to align your personality into those interviews, right? Keep in mind, if you look at your thumbprint, is there anybody with the same thumbprint in this world? No. Out of the 7.3 billion people in this whole earth, there's nobody unique like you. So you don't need to ape. किसी की नकल करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Just look at what is unique and special about you from your personality, from your interest, in terms of whatever aptitudes you have. And IDC has a great framework to test these things. If you have not already done that, approach someone in the group and you will definitely be able to look at those tests, which actually will give you a glimpse, an indication of your interest, your personalities, your aptitude, so that you are able to know what kind of career clusters you can get into. आपको अच्छा indication मिल जाता है. And I myself have been able to use them, leverage them to be able to counsel students. Okay, so let me ask you, as you've been listening, what mode of interviews do you see most as required in the market when you look for internships? Phone interviews आते हैं या video interviews, physical interviews, series of interviews? What do you think is the type of or the mode of interview? Let's hear your answers. Let's see if you're listening and whether this is making sense to you. Yes, Amar.
Yeah, so guys, any answers?
What mode of interview is used the most? What do you see in the market? We want to look at from your perspective, because you are most important for us and your success is most important. There are organizations that are asking for video CVs now, right? So I've been helping students to make their video CVs so that they can just make a 30-second video, a 60-second video apne bare mein, and just present that. That's a great opportunity to be able to profile and create visibility for you.
So phone interviews, all of the above.
Okay.
Some answers.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. What is not part of a phone interview? And the answer is a firm handshake. You don't get to see the person, see that person face to face. You don't get to handshake, but there are a lot of opportunities that you can do. Okay. So what is that one thing that will help you in most interviews? Probably, I would say all of the above. Okay. Aware of the etiquettes, having good content. But the good thing is, it's just the way you're looking at me or Samad sir, you're looking at us. They don't, the listeners or the interviewers don't see what is on your table or what is in front of the screen that you have, where you can put in whatever guides that you want. Okay. So one of the main thing that you need to do is look at your CV. Make sure that is attractive, easy to read. Keep in mind, those who are searching for good profiles, out of the hundreds of CVs that get uploaded, they have not more than 4 seconds. And mostly now it is automated also. There's a lot of search. So there is intelligent programs that quickly search keywords and try to find out the relevant profiles. So you should be able to create your CV well so that you are able to present yourself and be and clear out the first round. And if you have any specific needs for help, feel free to reach out to us at IDC. You'll definitely get that help in building your resumes and then helping you further in your interview skills. Okay. Now, in terms of preparation, look at some of these traditional ways of doing in terms of clothing and attention to grooming, etc., etc. Is this important in a phone interview? Let's hear our answers. Okay. But what is important as you think an answer is planning well, preparing well, which means even if you have to take some mock interviews, prep yourself, very important. And finally, go ahead and perform with confidence. That's very important. Okay. So, Samarth, are there any questions or answers?
Not yet, sir.
Okay. So, internship. Let's talk about phone interview tips. Okay. So, there are a lot of things that are there in phone interviews. So, what happens is, even in internships, people would get a lot of CVs, and if they don't know you personally, or if they have not connected with you on LinkedIn, they might want to just call you and do a little bit of a selection on the phone itself. Okay, and there are people who just do it, ask questions. So for you guys, it is important to do a little bit of a research on the organization and the details of the job or the role that is kept. So pehle research karo and try to gather information. Based on that, you can prepare yourself. Prepare your CV, which means for every internship opportunity, which might be unique, you will also have to tune your CV. I'm not saying change your CV, tune your CV so that you're able to highlight your achievements in line with the opportunities in the internship. Okay, so prepare your CV, prepare what the answers that you're going to be giving. This is not about knowing you. If it's an interview, it's about trying to understand whether you are the right fit. It's a fitment that they are checking, not about knowing you. Okay, so you have to look at what I've said at number 3. Try to look at the JD's job description and try to see how your profile, your little bit of experience, your qualification, and your languages known, your skills can match with that job. Okay, and after that, you should be able to have a lot of certificates and material ready. Keep your do a lot of mock interviews. Okay, one friend can actually do an interview for the other person, and I'm telling you, but the ratio, I've done a lot of briefing for students and even working professionals. The ratio of preparation is 3 out of 10, 30%. 10 लोग अगर सुनेंगे तो उसमें से 3 लोग करेंगे इसको actually, and those 3 people, that is 30%, will actually succeed. So dear audience, this works. If you prepare for mock interviews and you have somebody to ask you questions and you sort of build your elevator speeches, you build your short introduction, which is clear and strong, it is pre-prepared and you present it well, you will definitely be among the top. Okay, but preparation is key for even mock interviews. So be ready for the call, because people sometimes call. There was a person who was called when he was in the marketplace. He was in a general store and suddenly the interview call and said, Harshit, can I just speak to you? I'm coming from so and so company. Kya hua? Sir, oh, he was actually confused what he should do. And then he called me and said, Sir, main to confused ho gaya. I did not know what to say. I said, Beta, that's okay. You just have to tell, I'm sorry, this is not the right opportunity. I'm in the midst of something and there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of noise. Okay, can we schedule a time where I have some, I'm in the right place to be able to answer your question? Don't worry about it. People might call you, but you should be able to say, if they don't already ask you, you should be able to say, can we schedule a right time? Because मैं आपकी बात सुन नहीं पाऊंगा. I won't be able to hear you. I won't be able to speak properly because I'm in a marketplace, right? And so you can schedule a time. You should be able to know when you have free time, maybe an hour or so. And us time pe, which is mutually convenient, set that time and then you go into a quiet place with good phone connection or internet connection if it's a video interview, and then you would be prepared for it. So don't worry about it. Just tell them this is not the right time. Okay, because you are important and your responses are very important and they should respect you for that, and they will usually understand. If the organization is good, if the people are professional, they will definitely understand and respect your response or your request to reschedule. Okay, so these are some of the phone etiquettes, right? So it's important for you to take notes. If there is one thing out of all this that is important, I would like you to do some note taking, which means keep a notepad and write some things that they are asking or they are saying. And also, if you have some questions, you don't interrupt, but you try to write that down. And when you speak, try to speak constantly so that there is no pause in between, which will get them to interrupt. Okay. But if they interrupt in between the interviews, don't worry, because the interviewer is the master and so he or she would be leading that. So beach mein agar inhone interrupt kar liya, that means they've understood. So just go with the flow and just be comfortable. Sometimes they might be helpful, sometimes they might be very curt, but just go with the flow because it all depends upon the personality of the person who's asking. Okay, keep in mind, वो भी कई बार थक जाते हैं call करके, they don't know. So you have to sound interesting because it's important for you to understand that to make them feel that you are the right person for that interview. Okay, now look at these questions. when such questions are being asked, okay, tell me about yourself, strength, weaknesses, etc. What do they actually mean? What do they say and what do they mean? You need to understand this in the context of an interview, where what they really want to ask is A, can you do the job? Okay. B, will you do the job? आपकी willingness है क्या? Are you keen and eager and open to listen and do the job? And third is, will you like the job? Because if you like the job, you will be motivated. Every day you will be ahead of time, right? All the interns in my organization reach 5 minutes before or 10 minutes before their scheduled time. मैं तो surprise हो जाता हूँ यार, how are they so motivated? They just come there 5 or 10 minutes before, they're already ready. They go to they freshen themselves, freshen up, they're already ready for work, right? Organizations, sometimes we have challenge for people to be available on the desk at the right time, but I'm so happy, and I really want to acknowledge all the interns that work for us. They are so motivated, they are so eager to learn, and I feel so not only energized, I feel responsible. देखो कितने इंटरेस्ट से ये लोग सीखने आते हैं. And so we are really keen that all of you who are seeking for internships should get good opportunities, good people to receive the kind of offering and the services that you're really wanting to offer and learn also. Okay, so keep in mind, the next slide this slide talks about role specific interview questions. Okay, these are all interview questions we are talking about. It could be by phone, it could be by video. They will talk about your fitment in the role. Okay, they might talk about your skill sets. Okay, hard skills versus soft skills. The difference is soft skills is all about your ability to present, your ability to interact with people. Your hard skills are basically your domain specialization. If you are into coding, you like coding, then are you into that? Or if you want to get into some admin work, आप admin work में कितना knowledge रखते हैं? If you're getting into, say, some kind of accounting or bookkeeping role, there are some interns who come to the office and do bookkeeping, accounting karte hain because they are from a commerce background. Then the knowledge of the right way to do bookkeeping, to enter all those details into Tally, that is all hard skills. Okay, soft skills is people related. Now, the third area is basically the competency and the behavioral based questions. They will tell you कि अगर इस तरह का एक situation हो जाता है, then how would you react? If your time to go from the office is there up and your manager says, can you finish this job also, it'll take another 2 hours, what will you say? They will ask some kind of a behavioral questions to be able to preempt कि अगर आपसे पूछते हैं, if they ask you these questions, what will be your attitude, what will be your behavior to some difficult situations, and that actually gives them some clue of if this person is right or wrong. Okay, so let's look at another question. What is the most important question you want to ask? Because many times in an interview, towards the end, the interview will ask, do you have any questions? Rashmi, do you have any questions? Harshit? So what questions would you want to ask? Is it some of these questions that I mentioned here about roles, office structure, sir, payment hoga, nahi hoga? Or is it something else that you would want to ask? Let's hear from you. The most important question you want to ask.
Any answers, guys?
Or
Are
is
you
it
there with us?
Or is it would it be कि you say, sir, हम तो नहीं पूछेंगे कुछ, देना है तो दे देंगे, नहीं तो नहीं देंगे. So do you want to ask questions? My suggestion will be ask questions, because that shows you are interested. And the kind of questions that you ask will also give an indication of what is going on in your mind. So they're always wanting to see responses, okay, as much as we are. Samarth and I are wanting to see what your response is. What's the most important question?
What is the role?
What kind of a job? What kind of a role? Okay, yeah, good.
Will
How
I
long?
get the
How?
internship?
Yes. Sorry, go ahead, Samarth.
Will I get the internship? What is the role?
Will I get the internship? Is this the final interview? Will there be more interviews? When will the decision happen? Is this a paid interview? Okay, because of course, if you are going, is it a paid internship? I meant, because if you're going to the office, you will have some local conveyance, there'll be some kharcha that will be there, expenses will be there. So, so is this going to be paid? Because the payment of the interview will also give you a clue of the value that you bring to the table. It's not about how much you need, it's about how much they are willing to give, the organization are willing to offer as payment in lieu of the value that you bring. Okay, so there could be multiple questions in these areas that would come in a phone interview, and I'll not go into too much of details. If there are any specific details, you can actually ask us towards the end, or you can send us reach out to us offline, and we'll be happy to have you. Now, there are certain do's and don'ts also in terms of the interviews, right? So it's very important. Look at the first one. Many times after the interview, somebody calls me and I says, Beta, what was the name of the person who called you? Right? And many of them say, Sir, maine pucha hi nahi. I didn't ask. Okay, always ask the name of the person and the role of the person. Was it the person from HR, or was the person from a specific department which needs those interns? Because the moment you ask them, and try to ask them right in the beginning, usse aapko pata chal jayega what kind of answers you should give. Because HR will be more towards your payment and the time or the duration of your internship, etc., etc. But if it's a person from the department, they will be wanting to know your skill. Okay, a little more detail. So always ask a few more questions, and probably if this is taking time, you can even take some screenshot, or this is available on YouTube. You can actually watch this again. Try to look at some questions that you can ask, and also some do's and don'ts for these kind of interviews. So this will definitely help you to be able to be effective. Keep in mind, there might be only one chance. And every interview that you go into should be assumed, you should think that this is my last and final chance. So don't let it go. Do your best after preparation. Okay, so let's talk about video interviews now. What is the most difficult part of a video interview? These days, as I said, there are a lot of video interviews. Initially, it might be a phone interview. And say after that, it might be either a physical round, meaning आपको office में बुलाएंगे, it'll be a face-to-face, or it might be a video interview. Okay, so what's the most important or a most difficult part rather of a video interview? Or are video interviews easy? What's the most difficult part? Let's hear from you. Any answers, Samar?
Okay, guys, any answers?
Okay, keep in mind one thing. In a video interview, make sure technology works. Last moment में कहीं internet down हो जाएगा, electricity supply will not be there, something will happen, you are not able to log in, the app is not opening, something will be there. So make sure that one day before you test out that link. If it's a Zoom link, it's a Google Meet, पहले उसको check कर लो, see if it is working. Make sure that everything else is there, and if it's not working, then if the link of the meeting is not working, send a mail and send a message to those interviews, so that in advance they get to know that it is not working. Last moment pe, if you miss the chance, then we don't know whether the chance will come again. Okay, so always test it one day in advance, not the same day, not 1 hour before. Ek din pehle. Check all those things one day before. Make sure that you have sufficient time to be able to ensure that you're ready for the interview. Okay, so video interview is equivalent to usually an in-person interview. You see at the bottom of this picture. Okay, so that avoids traveling. After from COVID onwards, you will see more and more video or virtual calls happening. So it is very important for you to be cognizant of these things. The video platform, there might be scheduling. If there are multiple interviews, you need to make sure that there is a background which is right. The dress code that you wear, is it going to be casual, a round neck t-shirt, or is it going to be a formal? Should you wear a tie? Right, those are all important things, and you can check in advance. Okay, so make sure that All these things are done. You're sitting in front of a camera and you're looking at the camera the way I am to be able to address the person. If I'm looking somewhere else and talking, the person will actually see that this person is looking somewhere else. So make sure that you have eye contact, you are able to practice and prepare. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now, in an interview, what do employers look for? What do employers look for? Okay, so there are many of them. Answering the questions, showing some creative ways, make sure that your presentation is good, that you have the right knowledge, right? You have the adaptability and flexibility, you're very positive, and you own up the work. Okay, so how will you know? How will you know what exactly is this employer and this person looking for? Okay, so there was a person by the name of Gurkirat, and she asked me, "Sir, how do I know what the employer is going to look at?" So I asked Gurkirat, "Beta, have you put your profile on LinkedIn?" Yes. Okay. So why don't you do a little bit of research in this organization? Look for the people who are in that department. Try to reach out to them. If there are some of your friends who've already gone for their interview, unse pucho, ask them what kind of questions are being asked. Okay, so that you are able to prepare yourself. If it's a job that really requires a lot of domain experience, for example, those in coding, the primary thing that the employer will look at is, do you have good coding skills? Because those employees will be under pressure. They have to quickly finish certain projects under tight timelines and also get the right quality so that when the testing is done, there are few bugs. It's important that you have good domain specialization, right? So it's very important. So all of them are important, but the most important thing that I want to leave with you is number 6, and that is relevant knowledge. You should have the right knowledge. Sir, kuch bhi de do, main kuch bhi kar lunga, that may not be the best answer. Okay, you should be good at least one thing in terms of your skill, and you should be able to position yourself very strongly based on not saying that, sir, I'm good at. Talk about what you did in your past, in your projects and any other assignments, that gives the confidence, that gives you the confidence that you are good in that area. It's very important to know, what am I good at? Okay, what is my specialization? And that is based on the type of interviews that you should be looking at. Okay, I'll just come to a close because we are almost there on time, and I'll pause if you have any questions. So there are sometimes tough questions. Okay, it might be about, are you willing to fail, for an example? Are you willing to fail? Now, what they're trying to ask you is, how do you deal with failure? Failure is not final. ऐसा कोई भी सिचुएशन नहीं है where सब लोग हर बार सक्सेसफुल रहते हैं, सफलता प्राप्त करते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है. People would fail in different situations. Okay, the point is not about are you willing to fail, the point is how do you respond to failure. So it's important for you to understand the meaning behind the question to be able to answer. Okay, look at a weakness question. Have you learned from your mistakes? Okay, it's not about what are your weaknesses, but the point is, have you learned from your mistakes? For example, people will say, sir, I am a perfectionist. Now, that's not what we are asking. They're saying, if you made a mistake, how quickly do you learn from that? Okay, look at another tough question here and the left bottom. What was it like working with your previous supervisor? So my suggestion will be, never give any negative point. Look at the positive sides. See, there's always a negative and a positive. Look at the positive sides of the people that you worked with or you have had interaction with. Or you might say, sir, मैंने तो कभी काम ही नहीं किया. But then you have worked in the school. You worked in a project environment. You worked taking some assignments where you had a team working together and you had a guide. आपने उनके साथ कैसे काम किया? How was it working with your guide? Look at the positive things and acknowledge the positive things of working with that guide, with that team of people. And the message that you're trying to give is, sir, I understand it is not a perfect situation, but I want to remain positive and I want to look at the positive things about other people and including my guide, and I want to work together. Okay, so these are some of the kind of questions that will come in and you can prepare yourself. If you fail to prepare, you will be prepared to fail. Okay, so always make sure that you ask, you prepare, and then you're ready for performing. Okay, so we will take a pause now, and we will be happy to answer any questions that you have. And I'll request Samar sir to help us if there are some questions coming up.
Sure, sir. Thank you. So, guys, please post your queries in the chat. Please let us know if you have any questions, so we'll answer them right away.
And dear audience, keep in mind that this is not a one-time thing. We at IDC are really keen to look at each one of your individual requirements to help you become successful. There is an opportunity, there is a career waiting for you, a unique place waiting, because you, each one of you is so unique and special. You're very, very valuable. Your life is precious. As much as your parents have supported you, we also, along with your parents and other faculty, we want to make sure that you are helped. So feel free to ask questions now or continue to contact us, and we'll be very happy to have sessions with you, individual sessions, to make sure that you get the right support in so many of these topics that we are coming to you every Saturday. Okay, so please don't hesitate to contact us later also, and Samar sir will give you the details. Okay, Samar, any questions?
So we do not have any questions yet, guys. Like sir was saying, I have pasted your contact details. All right, you may reach out to us for any personalized career guidance that you may require. So we have one question: how to respond most effectively to general questions like, "Tell me something about yourself."
Right. Thank you for asking that question. Tell me something about yourself is a very, very open question, right? So what they want to know is, why should we take you? How are you the best person, best fit for this assignment? Right? So that is what they want to know, right? So what you should not answer is, sir, I'm from Lucknow and maine ye kiya tha, my father was this, my mother was this, and I did this project and I got this percentage. You give this whole thing. They basically want to know, are you the right person for this job? Okay, so what you should do then, if these are the things you should not be doing, right? First thing is, make sure that you know what is the opportunity for. What is that internship opportunity for? A good number of people go for internships for coding, for example. Let me just take one example. If it's a coding example and the question is, tell us something about yourself, maybe one or two sentences say that I did my schooling from so and so school in Lucknow, and I really enjoyed the academics, and I'm looking for this internship. One thing that I really enjoyed was a project in which we did a thing on did a Java project or an HTML project, and this was a project, and this is how we actually did it, and the success was very good. So that is something that really I enjoyed, and therefore I thought taking up an internship in your organization would help me to build my skills and to be able to contribute. So connect your profile with the opportunity of internship. That is what you should quickly come into and answer when the question is, tell us something about yourself. Okay, it could be another area where I wanted an internship and I was looking for somebody to do marketing for me, making posters and making creatives. Okay, so if the person just comes, I will also ask the person, what are you good at? So there could be many things under the sun. But if the person asks me and says, what kind of internship are you looking for? I'll say, beta, I'm looking for someone who can do content, a little bit of content writing and maybe a little bit of marketing. So immediately when I ask, tell me something about yourself, and I'm having a CV in my hand, I'm expecting the person to tell me how that person will fit in into this role. आपने क्या किया है जिससे मुझे ये समझ आता है कि you are good for this specific role. That is what you should answer when this question is put up. Okay, any other question?
Okay, thank you. Anirban says thank you to you for answering his query.
Wish you all the best. Good job.
So do we have any more questions? Meanwhile, I'd like to update you all on the fact that we do these weekly career classes every week, right? And next week's topic is going to be studying law abroad. So if you're interested in going abroad for your higher studies, please join us there. Otherwise, there are also many other exciting topics that we have covered on our channel, such as consulting, food technology, and so on. So please check that out as well. Okay, so I think we have come to an end of this wonderful session. And thank you so much, Mr. George, for the very nice session. And thank you to the amazing audience for making this very interactive. So
My
I'll
pleasure.
see you. Thank you. So we will see you again next week. And like sir has already mentioned, you can see the details on the screen. Please feel free to reach out to us for career guidance help. Thank you and bye for now, everyone.
Thank you. All the best.